Hello everyone, it's Kim here, and I am here today to show you how I made this journal. Now, it is loosely based on Teesha Moore's 16-page journal, and it's been pretty popular over the years on YouTube. I'll put a link below this video, and you can take a look at her original video if you like. I think it's from 2009 if I'm not mistaken. So I have made quite a number of these journals over the years and always enjoy them. So this particular journal is going to be used for a little girls trip that I'm taking next week. A bunch of artists are getting together up in the northern part of Ontario to make art for a few days. Now, most of the artists that will be participating in this little retreat are plein air landscape artists, which I am not. So I am doing a little icebreaker exercise to get to know everyone a little bit, and everyone will be taking home a journal similar to this one. So I hope you enjoy my little instructional video. I must apologize in advance, however, for my camera work. I was trying, I don't have a cameraman or camera woman, so I basically did all the filming and demonstrating myself. So I was holding the camera with one hand and painting and spraying and whatnot with the other hand, so it was, the camera's a little shaky at times, but hopefully you'll get the idea and you'll enjoy it anyway. So thanks again, and here we go. I'm doing a little experiment. I have a piece of watercolor paper here, a stencil, and some bleeding art tissue underneath in a couple of different colors. And I actually sprayed the whole thing with water to see if it does anything cool. And it did nothing cool. Oh well, I tried. Okay, so this is after layer number 1. Some areas I was able to get an imprint of the stencil, but I don't know if it's really worth using a stencil. Basically, the bleeding tissue gives you lots and lots of color. Kind of cool, but just layer 1, and we'll be doing lots more layers. I think I'm going to flip it over now, and I'm going to drag some gesso through some stencils. Okay, so I've got some gesso out here on my non-stick craft mat, and it's gotten a little bit thick because it's kind of old, so I decided just to leave it as is. And I'm going to try and demonstrate holding a camera with one hand. Tricky. So I have a stencil here. I'm just going to drag it through some random areas in a very, very, very thin coat. I mean, you definitely don't even have to use a stencil. You can just get some random palette knife marks from it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that one on camera. Okay, so after I lifted the stencils off, you can see that I have a little bit of a raised impression. So I'm going to let this dry. Now, some of the stencils had a bit of ink left on them from the papers that I used on the other side of the sheet. The bleeding tissue, and I'm not worried about that at all. So there you go, layer number 1 on side number 2. Alrighty, so I made some spray paint by mixing about 1 part of paint to about 10 parts of water in a little spray bottle. And I'm going to spray randomly through some stencils. Again, it's difficult to record and spray at the same time. And you're not trying to get a perfect impression, you're just trying to get some color. And you want it to go off the edge, ideally. And then once you've covered the stencil with paint, flip it over, give it a press, and get a negative image. Okay, I think I wasn't recording there, so now I'm going to make some circles, basically, circle blobs, circle splats with these little sponge top dabbers. So I've done a couple there. Those two worked really well. Pick a different color. Let's see, that one worked better. Such fun. Now, if you prefer not to have splats, you can just make circles. here we are on the other side of the sheet. So this is the side that we did all the warm colors on. So I'm using cool colors on this side for the most part. And this is the side that we gessoed through the stencils, and it's mostly dry, not 100%, doesn't really matter. So I've got the art bleeding tissue here. So I'm just going to play around with it. Start by getting it wet. Lots of water. If you don't want to stain your hands like I have, you may want to use gloves here. But just let it sit, and you can see that the tissue is already starting to bleed. And it will react differently on the gessoed areas than on the non-gessoed areas. I like to wrinkle it up and flip it over. Get my hands all stained. Give me another spritz if you want. See what I mean there? That's where I put the gesso through the stencil that has the circles. Looks pretty cool. And over here is the honeycomb stencil. That area looks cool. So this is how we're looking so far. This is the gesso actually resisting the ink from the bleeding tissue. It looks very cool. So my plan for the next step is to use some lids and empty containers and some black paint and just do some stamping. I don't have much paint left, but don't need much. Well, you basically just dip your item in the paint and stamp away. I like to put them in bunches, but not necessary. Use any color paint you want, black, white, blue, pink, yellow, whatever. So I'm going to stop there. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, I think, is take some of these just dollar store letter stencils and spray some black through them just because I like the look. And I do it really randomly. Like so. You can flip them over if you wish and get kind of a stamped image out of it. Nice mess on my hands. Alrighty, so now we're ready to assemble our little art journal. And basically what I have here are 3 strips of paper, 10 inches in height, and I believe it's 22 inches in width. So I've made a journal now that is 10 by 8. So I've decided what I wanted where, and I folded the book in various ways. This sheet is folded like this, making sure you have two 10 by 8 pieces. This will all make sense when it comes together. And then the next piece, I folded here and here. And then I decided that I wanted the cover to be this. So there we go, and you can take this flap and either put it over the front like so, or just tuck it inside. I think I'm going to put it over the front like so. And then I found a strip of fabric and it matches, so I'm going to have it wrapped around the outside of the journal like this to keep it closed. Makes sense? So far so good. So now I have a piece of twine that I roughly measured to be 3 times the height of the journal, so 30 inches in length. And I have a really big, I think this is a tapestry needle. It's not very sharp. So this is what's called an awl, and it's just a pokey tool. You can use anything sharp to do this. So basically you want to find the center of your journal, which is right here, and make sure it's crisply folded. And that everything's in the order that you want it to be in. And then take your awl and find roughly the center and poke through like so. And then eyeball another spot about halfway between here and here. And again, close your book, poke through, and do the same thing here. Oops. And don't poke your finger like I just did. All right. So now we're ready to stitch. I'm going to start on the outside of the journal. Oops, wrong way. I'm going to start, this is the journal folded shut. And these are the 3 holes, so I'm going to start by bringing the thread in through the outside of the book, and make sure you leave a tail, and we're going to go all the way up to the one of the holes, doesn't matter which one, and coming this way. And then go all the way to the other hole. And come through again. This is probably the simplest bookbinding method in existence. And then we will finish by going back through the center hole, like so. And as you can see, I've got a little bit too much string, but it doesn't really matter. So now you want to pull it tight, but not too tight because you can tear your book. And make sure that one tail is on this side of the center and that the other is on the other side of center. And just tie a knot. Now some people like to leave a long tail and you can put beads on them or whatever, but I don't, so I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it off. And there we go. Now for my cloth, you can just put it through the like that. And tie it up. And we're ready to start working in our journal. So I hope you enjoyed coming along with me while I made myself a little Teesha Moore inspired 16-page art journal. I believe it's called 16 pages because of all the flaps. Let me see how many pages we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now that's a stretch. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've got more than 16 pages. Somehow, I don't know how I did that, but so anyway, I'm done for now. So I hope you really had fun with me today, because that was really a fun journal to make. Made a big old mess, but that's always fun, isn't it? So bye for now, and I'll see you next time.